Hello, today we're going to learn about the 4 different types of slope. So I've given you this paper as you've entered the classroom, and you're going to take that and you're going to fold it to the middle line right there. And then you're going to take that and you're just going to cut right here in between those words like so, and then the same thing over here. Try to kind of line it up with that line right there. And then that is it. You are ready to take some notes. I am going to be using the colors today: green, red, purple, and orange. So if you'd like to keep your things in matching colors, then those are the 4 colors you will need today. So in the upper left hand, we're going to talk about positive slope. And a positive slope, I'm going to zoom in so we can see just positive, is a line that goes up from left to right. An example, or some examples of that, would be a ski lift, an up escalator, or if you go hiking, hiking up a mountain is an example of a positive slope. Now, if we're talking about an equation, y equals 1/3 x minus 2. Slope is the coefficient. So that is going to be, I've got to find my highlighter here, 1/3. Just the 1/3, okay, is my slope. And that is positive. And our variable that we use for slope is m. So m equals 1/3 is my slope for this particular equation. So then on the inside, zoom out so you can see all of positive. From left to right, the graph is increasing. So both my variables will be increasing at the same time. All right, slope is still the rise over the run, which we've talked about. That's going to be the vertical change to the horizontal change ratio. And I've already graphed these 2 ordered pairs and drawn a line to connect them. So I'm going to use that in my slope formula here. So it's going to be a y minus a y. So this is 1x and this is 1y, and this is another x and this is another y. So I'm going to do a -1 for this y minus 2. So I do the change, the y change over the x change ratio. So -3 minus 2. Okay, and so for that one, if I do those in the calculator, I'm going to have a -3 over a -5. But if I have a negative divided by a negative, that will actually simplify to 3 is my vertical change to 5 is my horizontal change. So looking at this, if I trace these grid lines and make a right triangle here, my vertical change is 3 and my horizontal change is 5. So no matter if I find it from the graph or if I use the slope formula, my slope is going to be 3 to 5. 3 vertical change to 5 horizontal change. Moving on to negative slope. So now you need your red pen. You're done with your green pen. Negative slope is going to be basically the inverse of positive slope. So it's going to be a line that goes down as I'm reading it from left to right. Some examples of that would be snow skiing, sledding, some equations, and you can probably think of some other examples there. So an equation would be y equals negative 3x plus 7. So again, my slope is still found in front of my x variable. So for this particular one, my slope is negative 3. Then on the inside, I've already got these two ordered pairs graphed, and then I've connected them with a line. So from left to right, that line is going to be decreasing. As one of those variable increases, the other one is going to decrease. Still a rise to run ratio, still a vertical change to a horizontal change ratio. So if this is an x and this is a y, and this is an x and this is a y, I can do 3 minus negative 2 on the top, and then x minus x, negative 2 minus 3 on the bottom. This is going to give me, if I put that into the calculator, positive 5, and if I put this into the calculator, this gives me a negative 5. And when I simplify this, if I divide it, I'm actually going to get a negative 1. So if I go over here and I draw a right triangle, if I connect my dots like so, and I count my vertical change, this is a negative 5. I've lost 5 in that direction. And then from here to there, left to right, that's a gain of 5. So my slope is still negative 5 to 5, which will simplify to a negative 1. So there we go. This is the general idea of a negative slope. It will start higher on the left side, and then as it goes to the right, it will decrease. It will go down. We're done with red, and now we're going to move on to purple. We're going to use purple for zero slope. Zero slope looks like a flat line. Examples, and this is where most of your sports are played. So we're talking football and basketball, volleyball, soccer, baseball, softball, etc., etc. And if you want to talk about in the airport, those moving sidewalks, I don't think I've ever seen one that has any kind of slope to it. They're all a zero slope. An example of that with an equation is y equals 5 or y equals negative 4. So you need to notice the difference between that kind of equation and this kind of equation. Y equals 1/3 x minus 2. Here we have a positive slope. Here we just have y equals 5 or y equals negative 4, y equals some number, and that gives me a zero slope when I graph it. So here I've got one that's already graphed. I've got y equals 2. That means it's going through the y-axis at 2. That means all y's are 2, no matter what your x's are. So this is a horizontal line. It traces the horizon. Slope is still rise ratio to run, or the vertical change to the horizontal change ratio. Now if I use x and y in my slope formula, my y's go on top, so 2 minus 2 are my y's, and negative 3 minus 2 are my x's. Find that difference on the bottom. So I have nothing, 2 minus 2 is nothing on the top, and negative 3 minus 2 is going to be a negative 5. Now, if I put that into the calculator, I'm going to put this ratio, 0 divided by negative 5, into the calculator. I get 0. If I have nothing and I split it 5 ways, I have nothing. So my slope here is 0. Okay? And what this is saying here, if it's a vertical change to the horizontal change, it's saying there is no vertical change, is what that's saying. So then let's go and look at the last one, which is undefined. I'm going to grab my orange pen for that. There is no run on an undefined line. Some examples of that in the real world would be an elevator, or a cliff, or the Tower of Terror, if you like roller coasters, or thinking smaller, the drop line ride. Same thing. Okay, an equation for that would be x equals 5. So I've drawn one right here for you. This is x equals 1. That means all the x's are 1. And no matter what my y is, my x is still 1. So from left to right, that graph is vertical. The slope is still the rise ratio to the run ratio. So if I use this and put these ordered pairs into my formula of y minus y and x minus x, so my y's are 4 minus negative 3, and then 1 minus 1, I'm going to have 7 over 0. Now if I put that into my calculator and I say 7 divided by 0, here's what I get. I get a divide by 0 error. What that means is you can't have 7 somethings and make them disappear. Okay, if you get an error, that means it's an undefined line. It's a line with undefined slope. And that's all we have for today. Thanks for listening.